Shandilyopanishad. This is the Upanishad from the Atharvana Veda, and it has 3 chapters. Majority of the mantras are in the first chapter. Prathamadhyaya. The first chapter contains 132 mantras. The second chapter is the smallest one with 6 mantras. And the third chapter, the last one, contains 21 mantras. So in all, 159 mantras, which speak about in detail various practices of the yoga sadhana, yoga techniques, the philosophy, the methodology, and finally the ultimate aim and goal and the destiny of the yoga. Shandilya Upanishad also discusses various requirements, qualities, eligibilities of the disciple and also the guru, the teacher. The Upanishad is a discussion between Shandilya Maharshi and Atharvana. And the discussion begins with the question by the Shandilya Maharshi about the ultimate aim of the life and the quality of the consciousness. Then Atharvana explains what are all the various qualities, gunas, saguna, nirguna of the consciousness, and how to attain, and what are the various methods and techniques of the yoga. And he begins with saying that the Ashtanga Yoga, Atharvana explains to Shandilya, the Ashtanga Yoga, Yamaniyamasana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. As you are aware, Patanjali Yoga Sutra also talks the same. And this 8 angas, Yama has 10 constituents. Niyama has 10 constituents. Means Dashavidha Yama, Dashavidha Niyama, and asanas are 8 Ashta asanas, 3 pranayamas. Pratyahara has 5 Pancha Vidha Pratyahara, then 5 Dharana techniques, 2 Dhyana techniques. Of course, Samadhi is the one. And this Dasha, the 10 Niyamas, are beautifully explained by Atharvana. He says wondrously, Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Daya, Arjavam, Kshama, Dhritihi, Mitaharaha, Shauchani, Cha iti Yamaha. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Daya, Arjavam, Dhritihi, Mitaharaha, and Shauchani, Cha iti Yamaha. Non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, brahmacharya, celibacy. Then daya, that is a compassion. Then arjavam, ability to pursue, ability to continue, maintain. Then kshama, forbearance. Then dhruti, tremendous stability, not going to give up. Then mitaharaha, then shaucham, cleanliness. All these are put as the 10 yamas. Atharvana explains each one in detail. What is ahimsa, what is satya, asteya, brahmacharya, daya, arjavam, kshama, dhriti, what is mitaharaha, what is shaucham, explains each one in detail. For example, Brahmacharya, he says it's not just giving up the sexual activity, it is not even having a thought at any stages, Jagrita, Swapna, Shushupti avasthas, not even having a thought, not even having a word, and not even having an act. Manasa, Vacha, Karmanaha, in all the Jagrita, Swapna and Shushupti avasthas. That is the Brahmacharya. And or having the thought of Brahman in all these states and not having the thought of sexual thought in all these states. Both dimensions have been beautifully explained. Then Atharvan explains to Shandilya the 10 niyamas: tapaha, santoshaha, astikya buddhi, danam, ishvara pujaha, siddhanta shravanam, hrihi, mati, japa, vrata. Tapaha, santoshaha, astikyam, danam, ishvara pujanam, siddhanta shravanam, hrihi, matihi, japa, vrataha. These are the beautiful descriptions given in all the 10 niyamas are in detail explained by the Rishi. Discussion is very detailed. Then Ashtavidha Asana Nirupanam. The 8 asanas have been beautifully mentioned. Swastikasana, Gomukhasana, Padmasana, Virasana, Simhasana, Bhadrasana, Muktasana and Mayurasana. And what is each asana? What is Swastikasana? Placing the soles of the 2 feet between the knees and the thighs and sitting erect and in balanced posture. That is Swastikasana. Then what is the Gomukhasana? The right ankle on the left ankle and the left ankle on the right one, both the sides. That is the Gomukhasana. And the left ankle of the leg on the right and the right ankle on the left. So both types. This is the Gomukhasana. And that resembles the cow. The placement of the ankles resembles the face of the cow, Gomukha. Then the explanation of the Padmasana. The 2 thighs, the feet are placed on the 2 thighs and holding the toes. That is Padmasana. Like this, Virasana, Simhasana, and then Muktasana, Siddhasana, Mayurasana. The discussion is very beautifully explained. It's very interesting to know that what is the practice of the benefit of asanas. Asana Jaya Phalam beautifully describes Ena Asanam Vijitam Jagatrayam Tena Vijitam Bhavati Yama Niyama Asana Bhyasa Yuktaha Purushaha Pranayama Charet Tena Nadyaha Shuddha Bhavati. By mastery over the practice of asana, one can master the entire world, Jagatrayam. That is Jagrita, Swapna, Shushupti. All the activities of the mind and the body in these 3 states of existence can be mastered, controlled, monitored, can be won over by the practice of the asanas. And that sets for the pranayama. When the pranayama has been described, Maharshi talks about the Sharira Pramanaha. Very beautiful it is to understand the biological and the physiological features as per the yoga philosophy, and the biological and physiological features of the human body in the Yoga Shastra. It puts it that the body, length of the body is 96 angulas. 96 angulas. Shannavatyangulaatmakam. Shannavatyangulaatmakam bhavati. This many times we get confused. Angulam means 1 inch. But we should understand 1 angula is the length of one's thumb finger. One's thumb finger's length. It will differ from person to person. And 96 of one's thumb finger's length is the length of the body. Length of the body doesn't mean only from the sole to the tip of the head. It also includes the length of both the hands. So length of both the hands, and also from the sole to the tip of the head. That is the 96 angulas. And then the Upanishad talks beautifully about the kumbhakas, the pranayama methods. As we see, there are 3 pranayama methods are given, and beautifully the names have been beautifully mentioned by the Shandilyopanishad. Before mentioning it, it talks about the various nadis and the nadi chakras. The 14 important nadis have been mentioned by the Shandilyopanishad. The nadis present in our body, the Ida nadi, the Pingala nadi, Sushumna nadi, Varuni nadi, Pusha nadi, Hasta Jivha, Yashaswini, Vishwadara, Kuhu, Sankhini, Payaswini, Alambusa, Gandhari nadis. And where are the position of these nadis? And it beautifully mentions Sushumna is the center of the one, and the Ida is the left one toward the Sushumna. The right side of it is the Pingala, and the cooling, the moon, the Chandraha flows through the Idaha. The warming, that the sun flows through the Pingalaha it is. Moon is in the form of a Tamas, and the sun is in the form of a Rajas. Rajasika and Tamasika it is. It is relaxing, but it can also take us to the Tamasika level. The Sushumna is always very, very balanced, and equanimity is maintained. The flow of the prana is balanced in the Sushumna. The balance of flow of prana in the Sushumna is maintained by the flow of the pranas in all these 14 nadis, especially between the Ida and the Pingala nadis. And the Saraswati nadi, Kuhu nadi, the Sushumna enjoys the center balancing force. The back and the side of the Sushumna are the Saraswati and the Kuhu nadi. Between Yashaswini and the Kuhu is the Varuni nadi. Between Pusha and Saraswati is the Payaswini nadi. Between Gandhari and Saraswati is the Yashaswini nadi. And in the middle of the center of the navel region is the Alambusa. And in front of the Sushumna to the end of the lowest portion of the genitals, that is the Kuhu nadi, and below and above is the Varuni nadi flows behind it. And this is how the gentle Yashaswini courses as far as big toes to the feet of the region. Pingala going upwards reaches as far as the right nostril, and Idanadi to the left nostril it ends. This is how various places, Nadi sthanas and Nadi chakras have been wonderfully described by the Shandilyopanishad. It is also mentioned in other Upanishads. Almost in the same fashion, we should feel that the flow of biopsychological energy in us, biopsychological, electrical energies in our body, the electrical energies within our body, their directions and flows, which are controlled and monitored by the essential vital energy, which is the prana, even which has various components, balances the entire energy in our system. And that is how the Upanishad speaks beautifully. This purification of these nadis are an important dimension. And that is how the Upanishad talks about Nadi Shuddhihi, Shushumna Nadi Shuddhihi. And for that, food is an important factor and practice an important factor. What food we take affects our pranic flow and the purity of the prana in our system. And then the various dimensions of the pranayama is mentioned. Kapala Shodhana pranayama, Ujjayi pranayama, and Sitkara pranayama and Shitala pranayama have been mentioned. Ujjayi pranayama, Sitkara pranayama, Shitala pranayama. These are the three pranayama methods described beautifully in the Shandilya Upanishad. Similarly, the Upanishad talks about the Khechari Mudra, and the Upanishad brilliantly explains wonderfully the 5 important pratyaharas, 5 types of pratyaharas. Generally, we are aware of pratyahara means just one simple pratyahara, but panchavidha pratyahara, that is how the Shandilya Upanishad gives. Panchavidha pratyahara doesn't mean 5 types of pratyaharas, 5 stages of pratyahara. It is not 5 types, but 5 stages of pratyahara. Then the means when we have to withdraw the mind from the attachment of the senses to their sense objectives from the objects, what are the different stages involved in that? Those stages have been beautifully explained. That is the 5 important stages. The Pancha Vidha Prana Pratyahara it is. In that, then the Pancha Vidha Dharana, 5 types of dharanas have been beautifully explained. That is the mind stabilizing in the Akashaha, Daharakashaka. Then we find it is the 3 tattvas. That is how the Upanishad describes the 5 types of the dharanas. Panchavidha dharana, ataha dharanaha, panchavidaha, atmani manodharanam, daharakasho, brahmakashaha, varanam, prithivyapas tejo vayuvyakasho, panchamar tirtha dharana. Means the mind withdrawn from the external objects and the external stimulations and temptations, brought down, focused into our own inner side, even from the Prithvi Apas Tejo Vayurakashaha, that is from the sensations and temptations of the Panchabhutas. That is the Panchavidha Dharana. Then the meditation is talked about the 2 important dhyana methods. 2 techniques of dhyana is given, Saguna Dhyana and the Nirguna Dhyana. Saguna Dhyana is the dhyana meditation on any object. An object means it has a shape and it has a name. It is the Saguna. Every object which has a shape and a name has a quality, and every quality has a shape and a name. That is how the Saguna Dhyana is mentioned. The normal meditation which we are all aware of, meditating on the Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Ganapati and Vishnu and Shakti and any on the object, even of any flowers, mountains, rivers, anything. Even if the object is a psychological, mentally you have an object, you projected an object in the mind, you threw an object from the mind onto the mental screen. That is also a saguna dhyana. Second is the nirguna dhyana, holding the mind without any dependence. Then the last one is the samadhi. The second chapter talks about the Paramatma Tattva of the whole world. Everything in this world, everything which is seen, which is felt by touch, shabda, sparsha, rasa, rupa, gandha, tanmatras, entire world is nothing but the Paramatman. That's why the Upanishad says everything in the world is fit for meditation and everything has a sense of godliness. Seeing that godliness in everything is the important dimension of yoga. The entire second chapter is devoted to that, and for achieving that vision of seeing oneness, for having that vision of seeing oneness and achieving it, Guru, a teacher, an instructor, an instruction is an important dimension. And the last chapter is the third chapter, where it talks about the three types of the Brahman. Sakala Brahma, Nishkala Brahma, Sakala Nishkala Brahma. The Upanishad beautifully describes in all the three important dimensions. अथ अप्यायास्वरूपस्य ब्रह्मणस्त्रीणि रूपाणि भवन्ति निष्कलं सकलं सकलनिष्कलं च इति निष्कलं ब्रह्म यत् सत्यं विज्ञानमानन्दं निष्क्रियं निरञ्जनं सर्वगतं सूक्ष्मं सर्वतोमुखम् इन्द्रियेषामृतमिस्ते तदिदं निष्कलं रूपं निष्कल ब्रह्म is Niranjanam, Nishkriyam, Sarvam, Susukshmam. That is the Nishkala Brahma. And what is Sakala Brahma? What we experience in the world, all experiences. How wonderfully the Upanishad says, wonderfully, all experiences are godly. This unable to recognize that is the problem in our entire communications. Then the third chapter beautifully describes the Dattatreya Tattvam and the importance of the Dattatreya Maharshi, who was born to the Atri Maharshi. The Lord, the Bhagavan, the Parameshwaraha offers himself to Atri Maharshi. That offering is Dattaha. Parameshwara offering himself to the Atri Maharshi. That's how we say Datta. Datta means offering. And he is the son of Atri, we say, because Parameshwara offered himself to Atri Maharshi. So Dattatreya is the son of Atri Maharshi. This is how symbolically we call it, and we know it and we recognize like that. The entire Upanishad concludes with the Dattatreya Prarthana, Dattam Niruktaveda Nirupanam, it calls it beautifully. And Dattathreyam Shivam Shantam Indra Neela Nibham Prabham Atmamayaratam Devam Avadhutam Digambaram Bhasmodhulitam Sarvangam Jata Jutadaram Vibhum Chaturbahum Udarangam Prafulla Kamalekshanam Evam Sastatadam Jayed Deva Devam Sanatanam Samuktaha Sarvapapebhyo Nishreyasa Avapnuyat. This is how beautifully the entire Shandilya Upanishads concludes with the invocation and prayer of Maharshi Dattatreya. And that is how the Upanishad explains from the beginning the Ashtangas in detail, each Anga, the Yama, the 10 Yamas, the 10 Niyamas, 8 Asanas, the 3 Pranayamas, 5 stages of the Pratyahara, 5 Dharanas, the Akashas, the two dhyanas, the Saguna dhyana and the Nirguna dhyana, and the ultimate, the Samadhi. Then it talks about the various breathing techniques, the pranayama it talks. Then the Ujjayi pranayama, Sitkari pranayama, Sitala pranayama. That is how the Upanishad trains, explains, presents a beautiful knowledge of invoking ourselves into a state of higher consciousness, and that is how the Shandilya Upanishad concludes by saying that Dattatreya is the Maharshi and who has to be recognized, realized and prayed for as the Guru for the ultimate aim and goal of our life. Another beautiful contribution of the Shandilya Upanishad to the yoga is the Vaishnavi Mudra, which is an important dimension it presents to entire yoga sadhakas. Then the Upanishad also has a dimension and a description on the Omkaraha, and it talks about the Prana Spandana. It is beautiful here. The Upanishad says if Prana Spandana is reduced, Manospandana is reduced. Manaspandana and Prana Spandana are interrelated. If the Prana Spandana is reduced, Manospandana is also reduced. If Pranaspandana is controlled, Manospandana is also controlled. Means the mind and prana are interrelated, interdependent and interconnected. And that is how each one has an effect on the other. If mind is disturbed, prana gets disturbed. If prana gets disturbed, mind is disturbed. To control, then we can say, to control the prana, we should control the mind. Controlling the mind is difficult. Controlling the prana is easier. That is why pranayama was given a major important role in all the yoga techniques and the yoga methods, so that we can handle the prana, indirectly we can handle our own mind. This is how Shandilya Upanishad teaches, presents in the form of a beautiful discussion between Maharshi Shandilya and Atharvanaha. And with this, the Shandilya Upanishad's presentation on the Yoga Sadhana, Yoga Siddhanta, Yoga Tattva and the Yoga Shastra is incomparable and unparalleled contribution. Let us conclude Shandilya Upanishad here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.